In Hunter x Hunter, being a hunter doesn't automatically make you strong. It makes you dangerous. Because the most lethal hunters in this world aren't just powerful. They're strategic, disciplined, and willing to pay prices that most people wouldn't even consider. Some sacrifice years of their lifespan, some sacrifice morality, and one of them sacrificed his own life, knowing it still wouldn't be enough. Today, we're breaking down the deadliest hunters in Hunter x Hunter, and what makes each of them nearly impossible to survive. What makes a hunter deadly? This isn't just about raw strength. We're judging them based on combat lethality, Nen mastery, tactical intelligence, psychological threat, and long-term impact. Only officially licensed hunters qualify. That means no Maruam, no Krollo, no Royal Guards. This is about hunters, the ones who pass the exam, and turn that license into something terrifying. Let's begin with someone who doesn't look intimidating at first glance. Kite represents professionalism. He isn't flashy. He isn't loud. He doesn't chase attention. He simply does the job. As a direct student of Ging Freaks, Kite embodies calculated efficiency. When he enters the NGL during the Chimera Ant Crisis, the gap between him and Gon or Killua is immediately obvious. His N stretches roughly 45 meters, an advanced level of aura control that allows him to detect threats before they fully materialize. That awareness alone makes ambush nearly impossible. But his true danger lies in crazy slots. A conjured clown rolls a number between 1 and 9. Each number corresponds to a weapon. Kite cannot choose, and he cannot dismiss it until he uses it. That restriction amplifies its destructive potential. He is forced to adapt instantly. Weapon number 2, the Scythe, unleashes Silent Waltz, a full circular slash that erases an entire squad of Chimera ants in a single motion. Weapon number 4, a conjured firearm, allows precise, high-speed eliminations. And then there's weapon number 3. The clown calls it a good number. We never see its full ability. But we know this. Kite draws it when facing Neferpitou. He understands immediately that he cannot win. Yet, he chooses to fight. And somehow, after death, he reincarnates, retaining memory and identity. That suggests something critical. Crazy slots may include a survival contingency tied to extreme conditions. Kite doesn't just prepare for battle. He prepares for outcomes beyond it. And that foresight alone makes him deadly. But the next hunter doesn't rely on preparation. He relies on control over people themselves. Illumi Zoldyck. Illumi is assassination perfected. Raised in the Zoldyck family, killing isn't emotional for him. It's procedural. He is a manipulator whose Nen manifests through needles. Insert one into a target's brain, and he can influence behavior. Insert enough, and he gains total control. But here's the terrifying part. The victim believes the thoughts are their own. There's no obvious possession. No visible aura strings. Just a gradual shift in will. Illumi can program automatic responses, fear triggers, retreat conditions, self-destruct commands. With multiple needles, he can animate corpses into needle people, turning cities into silent armies. And his most disturbing example? Killua. Illumi implanted a needle in his own brother's brain, conditioning him to retreat from any opponent he subconsciously judged stronger. For years, Killua thought his caution was instinct. It wasn't. It was Illumi's programming. That's what makes Illumi so lethal. He doesn't win fights. He prevents them from ever happening. And if he decides you should die, you may not even realize you're acting under his will. But manipulation isn't the only form of control. The next hunter controls the battlefield itself. Hisoka Moro. Hisoka doesn't hunt for duty. He hunts for stimulation. That alone makes him unpredictable. But what makes him deadly is mastery over momentum. His primary ability, Bungee Gum, gives his aura both elasticity and adhesion. It sounds harmless. It isn't. With Bungee Gum, Hisoka can attach invisible traps using in-redirect projectiles, pull opponents mid-air, launch himself like a slingshot, seal wounds by binding muscle and skin, alter trajectories mid-combat. He turns physics into a suggestion. Then there's texture surprise, the ability to alter the surface appearance of objects, fake tattoos, fake injuries, fake prophecies. Information becomes fluid in his hands. And after his battle with Crawlo, he changes. Using post-mortem Nen, Hisoka restarts his own heart. He reconstructs damaged limbs using aura. And from that moment forward, he abandons playfulness. He begins hunting the Phantom Troop with ruthless intent. Before, he wanted thrill. Now he wants extermination. And a patient predator is far more dangerous than an excited one. But creativity has limits. The next hunter surpasses limits through contracts. Kurapika. Kurapika doesn't fight emotionally. He fights methodically. Every ability he created was engineered with one purpose: execution. After the massacre of the Kurta clan, he didn't chase raw power recklessly. He studied Nen. He understood limitations. And then he weaponized them. As a conjurer, he formed 5 chains, each attached to a finger, each built around a specific combat scenario. But the moment his scarlet eyes activate, everything changes. Kurapika becomes a specialist. Under Emperor Time, all Nen categories operate at 100% efficiency. Enhancement, emission, manipulation, conjuration, transmutation. He temporarily becomes the most versatile type of Nen user possible, and that versatility is deadly. But here's the cost. Every second burns 1 hour of his lifespan. This is not a minor drawback. If Emperor Time stays active for 10 minutes, he loses 600 hours of his life. That means every battle Kurapika fights is quite literally shortening his existence, and that sacrifice amplifies his power dramatically. Now look at what he can actually do in combat. Chain Jail forces Phantom Troop members into Zetsu, completely shutting off their Nen. That alone allowed him to defeat Uvogen, one of the physically strongest enhancers in the series. Judgment Chain wraps around the heart and enforces conditions. Break the rule. Die instantly. Holy Chain accelerates healing so efficiently that life-threatening injuries become temporary setbacks. And Steel Chain might be the most dangerous of all. It drains aura directly from the opponent and extracts their Nen ability. Under Emperor Time, Stealth Dolphin analyzes that stolen ability and allows Kurapika to use it himself, or lend it to an ally. That means, against Kurapika, your own ability can become your greatest weakness. He doesn't just counter. He adapts in real time, and here's what makes him terrifying beyond mechanics. Kurapika prepares emotionally. He walks into battle knowing he is burning his future away. He has already accepted the cost, which means hesitation doesn't exist. Against Kurapika, you're not fighting someone trying to survive. You're fighting someone willing to die if it guarantees your defeat. And that mindset is lethal. But even Kurapika's sacrifice-driven strength has limits. The next hunter transcended limits through devotion. Isaac Netero. Isaac Netero represents what happens when discipline becomes divinity. At 46, he believed he had reached his peak. Most fighters would accept that. Netero refused. He isolated himself in the mountains and began a ritual, 10,000 punches a day, each preceded by prayer. At first, it took him over 18 hours. That means nearly his entire day was consumed by training. But over time, something changed. The prayer became automatic, the gratitude became instinct, and the punches became faster. Eventually, he could complete all 10,000 strikes in under an hour. Think about that. 10,000 attacks in less than 60 minutes. That's nearly 3 attacks per second. Sustained. From that devotion was born the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva, a colossal Nen construct that mirrors his prayer motion. Every time Netero brings his hands together, the Bodhisattva strikes. The speed is beyond perception. Even Meruem, a being vastly superior in raw aura, struggled to fully adapt to the rhythm. And that's the key. Netero's power wasn't about aura quantity. It was about speed and inevitability. He created a combat pattern so relentless that adaptation became nearly impossible. And when he realized even that wouldn't be enough, he revealed the final contingency. The poor man's rose. A miniature nuclear bomb implanted in his chest. He knew he might lose. He prepared to take his enemy with him. That's what separates Netero from almost everyone else. He wasn't fighting for pride. He was fighting for humanity, and he was willing to erase himself to ensure survival. That level of resolve is terrifying, because you cannot intimidate someone who has already accepted death. But there is one hunter whose lethality doesn't rely on combat at all. It relies on intellect. Ging Freaks. Ging Freaks is dangerous in a way that's harder to measure. We rarely see him fight. But that absence isn't weakness, it's confidence. Ging is officially recognized as one of the top 5 Nen users in the world. And unlike many hunters, he doesn't showcase power for validation. He experiments with it. One of his most unsettling abilities is replication. After observing a Nen technique once, he can recreate its fundamental mechanics. Not copy it perfectly, but reproduce its core principle. That requires absurd understanding of aura theory, but Ging's true weapon is foresight. He predicts human behavior with near-perfect accuracy. He orchestrated Greed Island, an entire Nen-based ecosystem complete with item systems, rule enforcement, teleportation mechanics, and conditional abilities. That project alone demonstrates mastery beyond combat. It shows structural genius. Ging doesn't overpower enemies directly. He manipulates scenarios. He sets conditions. He ensures that by the time confrontation happens, the outcome is already decided. And the most dangerous part? He appears relaxed the entire time. That calmness suggests something unsettling. He rarely feels threatened, because he rarely enters a situation he hasn't already analyzed. You don't fight Ging head-on. You realize too late that you were part of his design. And that intellectual dominance is its own form of lethality, but intellect can still be challenged. Ambition, however, reshapes the world itself. Beyond Netero. Beyond Netero doesn't represent known power. He represents unknown scale. He is the son of Isaac Netero, but unlike his father, he isn't bound by restraint. Beyond survived the Dark Continent, a place where natural calamities wipe out civilizations, where humanity's strongest expeditions have vanished without a trace. And he doesn't just want to survive it again. He wants to explore it, colonize it, harness it. That ambition alone implies monstrous capability. Physical endurance beyond elite hunters. Nen mastery capable of surviving unknown threats. Strategic planning capable of navigating existential dangers. But what makes Beyond truly deadly isn't confirmed feats. It's implication. World governments fear him. The Hunter Association monitors him. The Zodiacs prepare countermeasures against him. When institutions move cautiously around one individual, that individual is dangerous. Beyond doesn't need to prove strength on screen. The reaction of the world around him proves enough. Some hunters kill individuals. Others threaten entire eras. Beyond belongs to the second category. But not all lethality is cosmic. Some is procedural. Myzystem. Nanamyzystem represents law turned into weaponry. As a Zodiac and crime hunter, his combat approach revolves around structured enforcement. His Nen ability creates conditional paralysis. Under specific rule violations, he can freeze targets in place. That means recklessness becomes fatal. Against Myzystem, charging blindly is a mistake. He forces you into a framework, a courtroom-like structure where movement itself can become a breach. And once immobilized, you're at his mercy. This isn't flashy power. It's calculated suppression. He doesn't rely on overwhelming aura. He relies on making you make a mistake. And in high-level Nen battles, one mistake is enough. That precision is what makes him dangerous. But among the Zodiacs, one stands closest to authority. Bodabai Gigante. Bodabai Gigante is often described as the Zodiac closest to Netero in authority. He is a triple-star terrorist hunter. That title alone suggests extensive field experience against large-scale threats. While we haven't seen his full combat capability, implications matter in Hunter x Hunter. Bodabai commands respect among elite hunters. His aura presence is described as immense. And unlike impulsive fighters, he balances readiness with restraint. He does not escalate situations unnecessarily, but if he does enter combat, it is decisive. Hunters like Bodabai represent institutional lethality. They don't fight often, But when they do, the outcome reshapes organizations. And sometimes that quiet authority is more intimidating than visible destruction. So, who is the deadliest hunter? Is it the one who sacrifices lifespan for precision? The one who rewrites your will? The one who outthinks you before the fight begins? Or the one who accepts death as a tool? In Hunter x Hunter, aura is only part of the equation. Resolve is the multiplier, because the hunters who change history aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who commit completely. And the scariest part? Every single one of them earned their license the same way. They passed the exam. They received the same card. The difference is what they chose to become afterward. Now I want to know, if you had to face one of them in a life or death fight, who would you fear the most? And do you think raw strength is enough to survive in a world where conviction decides everything?